Somewhere around 8,000 years ago, a person stood beside a fire, pulled a lungful of smoke into their chest on purpose, felt their whole head go warm and fizzy, and made a decision that would echo for the next 8,000 years. Yes, I would like to do that again. Forever. You are Grug. You did not invent this. You did not plan it. You just stood too close to the wrong fire, felt something strange, and absolutely refused to learn your lesson like a responsible adult. Welcome to being human. Here is the thing nobody tells you about the ancient world. Fire was the first television. You built it, you fed it, you protected it, and you sat and stared into it for hours every single night, because there was quite literally nothing else to look at. No phone. No book. No wall to scroll. Just flames doing their little dance. Grug sit by fire. Grug watch fire. Grug have no notifications. And when you stare at something that long, eventually you start experimenting with it. That is where our whole story begins. So one night, somebody tosses a plant onto the fire. Not a special plant. Nobody labeled it. Just some leaves that happened to be lying nearby, because in the ancient world everything was lying nearby. And instead of smelling like normal smoke, this smoke hits completely different. It curls up, somebody standing there breathes it in, and their brain does a tiny cartwheel. Grug breathe in. Grug feel funny. Grug not sure if this good thing or very bad thing, but Grug 100% feel something, and Grug is now interested. That plant, as best we can tell, was tobacco. Indigenous peoples across the Americas were using it at least 8,000 years ago, and some evidence pushes it back even further. Let that number sink in. That is older than writing. Older than the wheel. Older than money, older than cities, older than your oldest, most tired family excuse. Human beings figured out how to smoke a plant thousands of years before they figured out how to write the word smoke down. Priorities, apparently, were established very early. And here is the part that quietly demolishes the whole caveman were simple idea. They did not treat this like a snack. They did not do it out of boredom in a parking lot. They treated it like a direct phone call to the universe. Smoke was sacred. It went up, so it carried your words up, to the ancestors, to the sky, to whatever was bigger than you. Grug not vaping. Grug not chilling. Grug conducting a holy ceremony, thank you very much. Completely different activity. Please respect Grug's spiritual life. This is the original irony, and it is a good one. The very first smokers were not rebels. They were not the troublemakers at the back of the cave. They were the most respectful, most serious people in the entire community. This was ceremony. This was medicine. This was the village elder rising slowly at the gathering, everyone going quiet, and announcing that the sacred leaf was about to speak. Grug take this incredibly serious. Grug wore the best fur. Grug practiced the speech. Nobody did this to look cool. They did it to be holy. Now stop and ask the real question. How do you even discover that a leaf does this? You cannot look it up. There is no label, no warning, no ingredients list, no helpful ancestor going, ah yes, try the fourth bush on the left. It means that somebody, at one specific moment in history, had to become the first human being to deliberately inhale burning plant matter, cough up half a lung, and then think, yes, actually, more of that please. That person is a legend. That person is also, let us be honest, a bit of a disaster. Scientists think the accident probably went something like this. You are burning brush to clear some land or drive some animals. You are standing downwind, because you did not check the wind, because weather apps were still several thousand years away. You breathe in the smoke of one particular plant mixed in with everything else, your head goes light and pleasant, and your prehistoric brain quietly files that away under important, investigate this later. Grug did not choose the smoke. Be very clear about that. The smoke chose Grug. Grug just an innocent bystander who happened to enjoy it enormously. And it gets stranger, because ancient people did not just smoke it. Oh no. Some cultures chewed it into a wad. Some ground it into a paste and rubbed it on. And some, incredibly, blew it into each other as a greeting. As a hello. That is the single boldest introduction in human history. Picture meeting your partner parents for the very first time, and the warm traditional welcome as a grown man blowing a thick cloud of sacred smoke directly into your face. Grug would genuinely rather go back outside and fight the mammoth. They also used it as medicine for basically everything, and I mean everything. Toothache? Tobacco. Snakebite? Tobacco. Stomachache, headache, bad mood, general sense of doom? Tobacco, 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 and a little more tobacco. It was the ancient world answer to have you tried drinking some water and going for a walk. Whatever the ailment, the elder had exactly one prescription, and he delivered it with the total, unshakable confidence of a man who has never once been asked for a second opinion. Grug trust the elder. The elder trust the leaf. Here is your modern mirror, and it is not flattering. We love to sit here and assume we are so much smarter than these people. Look at them, breathing mystery smoke, no idea what it does. And yet every single one of us has, at some point, consumed something purely because it made us feel a certain way, and then kept right on doing it long past the point where it was a good idea. Grug did not invent the endless scroll. Grug did not invent the group chat. But Grug absolutely cannot stop checking it either. The truly wild part, though, is the timeline. Because tobacco stayed put. For thousands upon thousands of years, it lived only in the Americas. It was, essentially, a continental secret. An entire hemisphere had discovered this plant, built rituals around it, made medicine from it, woven it into their spiritual lives, and the rest of the planet had absolutely no clue any of it existed. Grug over in Europe still standing in a field, yelling at the weather, chewing on a stick. Grug over in the Americas already has a full sacred ceremony. Same species. Wildly different Tuesdays. Then, only about 500 years ago, ships arrive, and the secret finally gets out. And when it does, the rest of the world completely, instantly loses its mind. A plant that took 8,000 years just to leave its home continent suddenly spreads to basically everywhere on Earth in the span of a single generation. Kings wanted it. Sailors wanted it. Entire economies rearranged themselves around it almost overnight. That is the fastest anything had ever traveled across the whole planet in all of human history, right up until we invented the internet and started arguing at the speed of light. And here is the dark comedy at the center of all of it. Nobody knew it was dangerous. For the overwhelming majority of this history, people genuinely believed smoke was good for you. It was medicine, remember. It was healthy. For centuries it was casually recommended for all sorts of things. The idea that it might actually be harmful is, historically speaking, shockingly recent. Grug not stupid for not knowing. Grug just had precisely zero data, zero studies, and zero warning labels. There is a very big difference between being foolish and simply being early. Grug was early. Which brings us to the genuinely humbling lesson buried in here. Every single generation has its one thing. That thing that absolutely everybody does, that everybody insists is completely fine, right up until the exact moment it turns out to be very much not fine. Theirs was the smoke. Grug sits here and quietly wonders what ours is. Grug has a strong suspicion it might be the phones. Grug is, in fact, staring at you through your screen at this very moment, saying nothing, judging you gently, holding the mirror up with two hairy hands. But let us go all the way back to that first person one more time, because they have earned it. One human being. Standing in a cloud of entirely accidental smoke. Brain doing a happy little somersault. And making the calm executive decision that this right here, is going to be a whole lifestyle now. No warnings. No science. No elder. No plan. Just pure vibes and a burning bush. Honestly, when you really sit with it, that might be the most human thing that has ever happened in the entire history of our strange, curious, reckless little species. Because that, when you zoom all the way out, is basically the whole story of us. We stumble onto a thing that does something interesting to our brains. We have no idea how it works or why. We decide, on the spot, that it is sacred. We build an entire ritual around it. And then we lovingly hand it down, generation after generation, for 8,000 years and counting. Coffee, tea, chocolate, spice. Grug did not invent self-restraint, and Grug is not going to start now. But Grug absolutely, 100%, invented tradition. And every one of those beloved things started the exact same way as the smoke did. Some brave, fatally reckless, gloriously curious ancestor picked up a total mystery plant, held it near a fire or popped it straight into their mouth, and reported back to the group on how it went. Every last one of us is descended, directly, from the people who survived the taste test. So thank you, reckless ancestor. Thank you for the risks you took so that we did not have to. You are the entire reason breakfast is even remotely interesting today. So, at long last, how was smoking actually discovered? Not in a laboratory. Not by a scientist. Not on purpose, at least not the first time. It was discovered by a regular person who stood a little too close to the wrong fire, breathed something strange, felt something they could not explain, and decided, deep in their gut, that the universe was trying to tell them something important. And you know what? Maybe it genuinely was. Maybe the universe was clearly, urgently telling them to move upwind. They simply, absolutely, did not listen. Very human of them. So here is Grug's official conclusion on the whole affair. The first smoker was not a genius, and the first smoker was not a fool. Grug was just a guy. A guy who found something strange, decided on the spot that it was holy, and then never, ever let it go for the rest of his life. Which, now that Grug really thinks about it, is also more or less exactly how Grug ended up married. But that, my friends, is a completely different video. Grug, see you next time. And Grug telling you, move upwind.